US CPI inflation comes in at a two-year low of 4.9% and below estimates of a 5% year-over-year rise in prices. Treasury yields slip while the Nasdaq rallies as investors buy into tech names. The street will now watch the producer price inflation print due later today. Stocks in the Asia Pacific are mixed this morning as the Chinese CPI inflation comes in at a two-year low of 0.1%. The SGX Nifty indicates a positive start for the Indian market. And L&T's order inflows remain strong, but margin misses street expectations. Non-executive chairman A.M. Nayak steps down after nearly 6 decades at the group, will hold the post of chairman emeritus, while current MD and CEO S.N. Subramaniam is set to succeed him as chairman. Dr. Reddy's delivers an in-line fourth quarter, and worries rise over the performance of the base business as U.S. sales take a hit. A good set of numbers is expected from Asian Paints on a favorable base and easing input costs. Eicher Motors is also likely to report margin expansion along with healthy Royal Enfield volume growth in the fourth quarter. The exit polls for Karnataka hint at a photo finish between the Congress and the BJP, with neither party getting a majority. A Network 18 poll of polls has the Congress winning 100 seats and the BJP winning 98, making JDS a kingmaker. All right, those are the top headlines, but clearly the biggest headline of all is that the CNBC TV18 India Business Leader Awards are due to start in not very long from now at all. In just around 9 hours from now, we will be live with the India Business Leader Awards, where we're going to be honoring the very, very best of business and all of the top business leaders. So remember to catch all of the action right here on CNBC TV18 at 5 p.m. today. All right, so that is the big, event that you should watch for today at 5 o'clock. We're going to be live with Ibla. But first up, let's also go through what's happening as far as the global markets go, because like we were telling you, the US had the inflation print come out, which is the big cue that we were really tracking. It was quite a mixed handover. On the back of that, you have Asia, which is opening quite mixed right now. It has seen a bit of a slip in the past few minutes. What's holding up well, you have the Kospi, which is seeing a 0.4% gain. Hang Seng is 0.3% higher as well. It has come off a little bit in the past few minutes, but still holding up with around a 60-point gain there. Taiwan has slipped around 22 points in the red. The Nikkei market's also around 60 points lower right now. Shanghai also seeing a cut of 0.2%. So quite mixed across Asia, and you're definitely seeing that slip come through in the past 10 minutes or so. The SGX Nifty will be up for you. It is indicating that the start for our own markets will be positive. It's 32 points higher on the SGX Nifty. So that's what's happening across Asia. But let's also talk about the US markets now. Wall Street ended mixed with the Dow Jones down 30 points, the S&P 500 up 18 points, and the Nasdaq Composite, that was the big gainer. It saw a 1% rally to end the session. So shares of Google parent Alphabet gained over 4%. This after the company unveiled new gadgets and details on generative AI intelligence tools. In fact, Alphabet also unveiled the Pixel 7a Android phone at its I/O developer conference held in California. Meanwhile, you had shares of Disney, which were down over 4% in after-hours trading. This after the company reported a decline in its streaming losses and also lost 4 million Disney Plus subscribers. The company's revenue and profit, however, came in line with what was expected this time around. So that is some... All right, those are some important reactions coming in on the inflation print. But with that, let's bring you the final update on our global market wrap this morning. European markets ended Wednesday's trading session lower. So the CAC was down around 36 points at the close. We have the German index, that is the DAX, which was down around 59 points. And the British FTSE closed with losses of 23 points. All of those rates on your screen. Global investors will now be watching for Bank of England's decision, which is due later today. Remember, the BOE is expected to hike rates for the 12th straight time. And the expectation is that it will be a 25 basis points hike. This, of course, as inflation in the UK continues to remain extremely hot. Now, commentary on the rate trajectory will be monitored very closely. That's what we've been telling you as well. And we will keep bringing you all of those details as and when we do get them. So that's what's happening across the global markets. Let's now talk about all of the cues that we should track, which are very specific to our own markets as well. Our research team is here with the trade setup. Mangalam, Ekta and Surbi all join us now to prep you up for this trading session. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Ekta, coming to you first. We saw that last hour recovery play out, but take us through everything else we should track today.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, yesterday's trading session, we did see the markets close with minor gains amidst what was a volatile session. The Nifty held on to 18,300. The sensex also rose. The Nifty Bank showed a sharp recovery in the last hour of trade, rising nearly 150 odd points. Now, the US markets will be in focus on account of the CPI inflation data plus the debt ceiling impasse. So, the US April CPI inflation came in at 4.9% versus estimates of around 5 odd percent. So, it was largely a little softer, you would have to say. So the US markets did close largely mixed. The tech stocks rallied. We have Asia, which is largely mixed at this point in time as well, because we do have the Chinese inflation data, which is coming at the lowest level that we've seen in 2 years. SGX indicating a bit of a positive start. The Karnataka exit polls will be something that the street will keep their eye on. It looks like it's going to be a photo finish when it comes to Karnataka. So that will give you a sense in terms of what the expectation would be from the general election, as well, as the markets do gear themselves up in order to take cues from that. FIIs continue to buy, so they are showing that underlying conviction. FIIs net bought around 1,833 odd crores in yesterday's trading session, and you can see on your screen that they have been continuous buyers since the past couple of trading sessions. Result reactions today: L&T, Lupin, or rather Dr. Reddy's, Precall, to name a few. Results today, we have the likes of Asian Paints, Eicher Motors, GSPL, Dr. Lal PathLabs, all of these stocks which will be coming out with their numbers. So heavy day in terms of stocks. Do watch out for the underlying conviction on the positive side for our markets.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for bringing us all of those cues. Let's now talk about some of those individual names as well that Ekta was mentioning. We have Surbhi here with the entire list of stocks that you should watch today, and as expected, a lot of the big earnings, Surbhi.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for that. So first on my radar is L&T. Now the numbers have missed analyst estimates. Revenue is up 10% on a year-on-year basis. The EBITDA is up nearly 5% and margins have come in at 11.7% versus 12.3% same time last year. Additionally, AM Nayak is going to step down as the non-executive chairman, and CEO and MD SN Subramaniam is going to be the chairman and MD. Next is Godrej Consumer. The numbers are better than expected. The revenues have come in at 3,200 crores. The EBITDA is coming at 641 crores and margins have come in at 20% versus a poll of 19.3%. Dr. Reddy's, the numbers are largely in line. The revenue is up 16%. The EBITDA came in at 1631 crores and the margins have come in at 26% versus 24% same time last year. Ratnamati Metals and Tubes, it's the best ever quarter for them. The revenue is up 54% and the EBITDA is up 78%. And lastly, Gujarat Gas, the revenues have come in at 3,929 crores. The EBITDA is coming at 560 crores and the margins have come in at 14.3% versus a poll of 12.3%.
All right, Surbhi, thanks a lot for bringing us that entire list of stocks. We're going to watch for all of these in the session today. But finally, it's over to Mangalam, who's looking at cues from the FNO space. Mangalam, for all the volatility, the close wasn't that bad. Take us through everything we should watch.
The close was good. In fact, there is decent momentum with the bulls. We had the Nifty up 100 points from the day's low yesterday. In fact, closed near the day's high. Importantly, we got a good handover coming in from Wall Street as well. The Nasdaq was up by around 1 odd percent, and that makes Nifty IT the index to track today, along with Nifty Bank. It is also a Thursday, which means it's weekly options expiry, so that's something that we'll be watching out for. The FIIs, they continue to show confidence in our markets. They bought about 1,800 crores in the cash market. Domestic institutional investors sold about 800 crores, so net cash inflows was close to around 1,000 crores from the institutions. The FIIs, however, added a few more long positions in index futures as well, and the longs inched mildly higher from 48% to 49%. But the big data point that comes about, and the data point to track ahead of weekly options expiry, is what the FIIs did in index options. And out there, they covered short calls and they added short puts. So that's telling you the way up for the market opens up and the base moves higher as well. So yesterday, if you just take a look at the 18,300 call, that saw a fair amount of writing at the start of the day. But as the market progressed higher, those call writers had to cover their positions. So 30 lakh shares unwound out there for a premium of 57 odd rupees. And at the same time, the bulls started writing the 18,300 put, 37 lakh shares added out there for a premium of 40 rupees, telling you 18,250 is where the strong support is. What if the market falls from here after seeing some resistance at around 18,350 to 18,400? Well, they're prepared for that as well. We saw 90,000 puts being bought yesterday, and those puts that were bought were at 18,200. So basically, it was pretty clear. Bulls would write the 18,300 put, pocket a premium of 40 rupees, and also buy the 18,200 put, give out a premium of 13 odd rupees. So basically making 24 rupees in terms of premium and hoping that the market does not fall below 18,250. The other thing to watch out for is the SGX Nifty. Indicates a positive start to open things. But remember, this also indicates a start near the resistance zones. So whether a dip should be bought or whether we see a straight up move is something we need an answer to.
All right, and we will wait for that. Mangalam, thanks a lot for bringing us all of those cues. But with that, it is time for our first break on the show. When we come back, like we told you, a lot of big earnings post-market close yesterday. L&T and Dr. Reddy's posted fourth quarter numbers. We'll bring you the highlights in just a bit. Hey guys, welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast, and let's now talk about the big earnings that came through post-market close yesterday. First up, we have L&T, which posted numbers. So Rima is here to bring us all of the highlights from the fourth quarter performance. Hi, Rima.
Hi. So in one line, weak margins but very strong order inflows. So for Q4, there was a slight miss compared to street expectations. Revenue growth came in at 10.4%. Margins declined by 60 basis points to 11.7%. The street was anticipating flat margins, so there was a margin miss, and that led to a miss on the company's profitability as well. So Q4 slightly lower than expectations, but the miss was on margins, and that's the reason why the company also missed its FY23 margin guidance. So that was a miss. That said, the order inflows and the order book is quite strong. The order inflows in Q4 were more than 76,000 crore rupees, and their order book is touching 4 lakh crore mark. So on the order side, things are strong. FY24 guidance is also seen fairly healthy. Revenue growth seen at 12 to 15%. Order inflow guidance of 10 to 12%. The company is also guiding for a core EBITDA margin improvement of about 40 to 50 basis points, and they also have indicated that they have a solid new pipeline. There is a leadership change which has been announced. So AM Naik is going to be stepping down as the non-executive chairman of the company effective 30th of September, and he will now be the chairman emeritus, while S.N. Subramaniam, who is currently the CEO and MD of the company, he's been redesignated as the chairman and managing director. So a bit of a leadership overhaul, but as I said, in a nutshell, weak margins by L&T in Q4, dragging down the profitability compared to estimates, but the order inflow is strong and the company's guidance for FY24 is healthy. The stock, remember, has outperformed the Nifty by nearly 30% in the last 1 year. Back to you.
All right, Rima, thanks a lot for bringing us that fine print. In fact, on exactly this, on the order inflows as well as the margin, let's also listen in to some management comments. This is from the conference call. So listen in to what whole-time director and CFO R. Shankar Raman had to say.
We had to account for all the additional costs during FY23. And consequently, the margins have turned out to be 8.6% as compared to the 9.3% of the previous year. And looking at the way the projects are lined up, it appears that we could see 10 to 12% improvement in order intake, a fresh order intake in FY24. Looking at the order book of nearly 4 lakh crore, I think we can work towards revenue growth of 12 to 15% in FY24. And as I mentioned just a little while ago, we will work to improve the margin profile from the 8.6% levels of FY23 to somewhere around 9% for FY24.
All right, so that is just a snippet. In fact, we will be joined by R. Shankar Raman, who is the whole-time director and chief financial officer of L&T at 11:30 a.m. today on Trading Hours. So remember to catch that conversation and all of the action. The other big set of earnings that came out yesterday post-market close was from Dr. Reddy's. Ekta is here to bring us all of the highlights there. Ekta, largely in line?
Well, it was largely in line, but it was supported by a lot of different elements this quarter. So, for example, the revenue was up 16%, Street was anticipating 17% growth, margins came in line at around 25%, profit at around 959 odd crores, and the Street was anticipating over around 1,000 odd crores. But this time round, the numbers were supported by the PLI scheme revenue, which was to the tune of around 30 odd crores, divestment of brands to Eris Life Sciences, which supported the India business, that was 264 crores, Revlimid generic, the cancer drug contribution in the US markets aided. So overall, what the street was worried about is that the US market slowed and was slower than estimates. It came in at around $310 million or thereabout versus estimates of $340 million. India reported a growth of 32% but was aided by the divestment of brands to Eris. Adjusted growth was around 5% and adjusted margins for divestments as well as all of these different elements that supported the numbers was at around 21% as per se Antique versus their estimates of around 23.5%. So that's probably what's going to weigh on the stock this morning is the different elements which really supported the business. But if you look at the reported numbers, they were in line.
Okay, Ekta, thanks a lot for breaking down all of those numbers for us. In fact, remember, we will be joined by DRL's Chief Executive Officer, Erez Israeli, at 8:35 a.m. this morning to discuss the numbers and their outlook. So do remember to stay tuned for that big conversation. With that, it is time for a short break on the show. But when we come back, we're going to shift focus to the world of commodities and take you through all of the action there. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's talk about the world of commodities now. Manisha joins us to take us through the action there. Manisha, what are you looking at this morning?
Pavitra, morning. I'm looking at the crude oil prices because the US dollar retreating has supported the crude oil prices. We did see some decline in the New York session yesterday, but then the inflation numbers in US have seen a bit of a rise. But China PPI numbers that came in a few minutes ago have seen a decline by 3.6% for the month of April, which is the lowest in last 3 years, and that seems to be impacting the metal prices. So when you look at copper, we've seen a sharp decline onto that one. Zinc, nickel, all of these metals fell anywhere between 1 to 3% in the overnight markets. Gold is the only one that seems to be holding support. The weak US dollar clearly is supporting that one. But for the crude oil prices, and coming back to that, there is an unexpected increase in the US crude inventories, while there is a decline in inventories of gasoline, distillates, and jet fuel. So that tells you that the demand for crude products seems to be rising, and that in turn could be supportive for crude prices.
Okay, Manisha, thanks a lot for bringing us that quick check on the world, on commodities and on crude in particular. But with that, let's move on and talk about the Karnataka voting. Remember, voting ended yesterday with 66.91% of the state's registered voters turning out to cast their votes. The final numbers will be announced on Saturday, which is the 13th of May. But in the meantime, let's look at the various exit polls to see which way the wind may be blowing. The exit poll published by Jan Ki Baat showed numbers overlapping in a major fight between the ruling BJP and the opposition Congress. The poll predicts that the BJP is likely to bag the most seats, while the Congress may secure 91 to 106. So this would make it a very close fight. Similarly, the CGS exit poll predicts that the ruling party will have 114 seats, while the Congress bags 86. And on the contrary, you have Polstrat's poll, which estimates Congress leading with 99 to 109 seats, and then the BJP trailing with between 88 and 94 seats. Similarly, you also have Matt Rice's exit poll, which projects the Congress leading the race with 103 to 118 seats in its kitty. P-Mark also projects the Congress leading this time around with 94 to 108 seats, and the BJP in second place with around 85 to 100 seats. However, the poll of polls that we have by Network 18 projects a much narrower race. It has Congress leading marginally with around 100 seats and the BJP trailing the Congress by just 2 seats. So the JDS is projected to bag 24 seats, which would make it a kingmaker once again, because whichever party it decides to partner with can then have claim to have crossed that magic number. So that is what we have in terms of the exit polls. Like I told you, we will have the result on the 13th of May, that's Saturday. But till then, this is what we have in terms of estimates. With that, we're going to wind down on this edition of Power Breakfast with the news that Asia is pretty mixed, but the SGX Nifty is indicating a positive start for our own markets, 37 points higher there. Thank you for tuning in. We have Bazaar Morning Call after this short break.